I'm a dude, and I'm inviting you to join me on a podcast about brews.
Does that include stouts?
Yes, of course it includes stouts. Like I was saying, join us every Saturday on the journey into...
Wait a minute. Do you guys do anything about like IPAs?
Yes,
Stuff like that?
yes, we do IPAs.
Okay.
Yes. Anyway, join us on the Journey into Comics Network for Brews with Dudes.
Whoa, hey, have you guys ever... Do you care if I bring some Zima on?
Yes, I care if you bring Zima. Zima doesn't count. Zima's... Dr. Dongo. Anyway, join us every Saturday for a podcast that delves into the craft brew world.
The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Kids for Sale, the show all about how kids suck and parenting is harder than they tell you in the books. So my name is Chris, and with me is my co-host and my beautiful wife, Ashley. Ashley, go ahead and say hi.
I'd like to have it noted that Chris is making me do this against my will.
She's here nonetheless. So we just wanted to start this episode off with a little bit of an intro. Again, this show is going to be all about parenting, so I figured we'd introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about our kids and then start on our first topic today. So again, my name is Chris. I am a 32-year-old maintenance electrician. I've lived in Northwest Indiana my whole life. We currently reside in Lowell. And then I guess I'll kick it over to Ashley. I'm kicking it over. Are you going to catch it?
I'm 27 because for some reason that matters.
I guess.
And
well, it's for the demographic, just so people know what kind of parents they're talking to and hearing from.
I too have lived in Northwest Indiana my whole life, unfortunately. And Chris just threw my cat, so we're getting a divorce now.
The cat is deciding to make a bunch of noise right now. Right as we started recording, she's going to start chasing the spider on the desk. But, okay, so you're 27. You are a registered nurse.
Yes, I am.
And together, we have 3 kids. Well, we don't have 3 kids together. I have 2 kids from my first marriage. My son, Mark, is 7. He will be 8 this year. And my daughter, Olivia, is 4. And then Ashley has a daughter from her first marriage named Scarlett, also 4. So that's just a little bit about our kids. So in future episodes, you kind of know what we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Scarlett lives with us every day. My kids, they're over every other weekend. They live with their mom primarily. And I'm sorry about all the noise the cats make. But yeah, so Mark is in first grade. He's actually just wrapping up first grade in about a week. And Livy and Scarlett are both in their first year of preschool. They got another year of preschool to go before they start kindergarten. The girls are only about a month apart, so having them both in the house at the same time is essentially like having a pair of twins. And I guess neither of us have ever had twins, so I don't know what to compare it to for sure, but I have to imagine it's just as crazy as actually having a pair of twins in the house, because it gets pretty hectic from time to time.
Yeah, because they're both assholes.
They are both assholes, but they're assholes in a different kind of way. So Scarlett, let's go through one by one. Scarlett is the youngest of the 3, and she is also the craziest of the 3, I think. Well, yes. Wildest. Let's say wildest. I wouldn't say craziest.
Craziest.
Well, okay, craziest. We'll roll with that. She's definitely got a very excitable personality. She's very wild, very spontaneous about everything. She, one second she'll be fine and hugging you, the next second she'll be running around the house screaming and throwing stuff all over the place. And she is a troublemaker in a sense that she does things right in front of your face that she knows she's going to get in trouble for, and she almost like seeks to get yelled at sometimes. I think anyway. That's the way I've always seen it. Whereas Olivia again is 4. She's a month older than Scarlett. She's a little bit different. She's sneaky about being a troublemaker. She knows how to go and do things that we don't see her doing. And then she
blames it on Scarlett.
She somehow manages to blame it on Scarlett almost every time. And Scarlett, I don't know if she's just a people pleaser or if she doesn't realize what's going on, but a lot of times she will take credit for the things that she doesn't actually do, and she'll get in trouble for them anyway. But yeah, that's Olivia. Olivia is kind of a little shit in that way, that she will purposely get Scarlett in trouble all the time. Now, Mark
is a big dork, just like his dad is.
Mark is, he takes after me a lot. He likes comic books and he likes video games. In fact, he's been quoted as saying, well, he asked me, as soon as he got in my car one time to come back to my house, the first thing he said to me is, "Hey, Dad, when we get home, can I play a video game?" And I was like, "Dude, you haven't even said hi to me yet, and you're already asking to play video games?" And he goes, "But Dad, video games is my life." So that's, and it's true. That's all he wants to do all day long. But aside from the video games, I'm not that loud. Maybe your headphones are just loud. I'll turn you down a little bit. But aside from the video games, Jesus. Okay, now that was loud. I'm sorry.
He's yelling in my ears.
We're just getting the hang of this equipment and these microphones and everything, so I apologize if we're really peaky. But aside from the video games, he's mostly a good kid. Actually, they're all mostly good kids.
If you could see my face right now, you would see that.
I believe they're all good kids. They just do a lot of stuff to get in trouble, I guess. But deep down, they're good kids, and they love each other, and they love us, and they're good to each other most of the time. Most of the time. It really is most of the time. She's still making faces at me.
She's bullshitting everybody.
No, I don't think I am. But Mark makes trouble, like, when he's in a good mood, he will be good to both of the girls, and he'll be nice to both of the girls, and he'll play with them, and he'll include them in everything, and he'll share with everybody. But as soon as he gets in a little bit of trouble for something, that's when he starts snapping, and he starts, going out of his way to get Scarlett in trouble, just like Livy does. And he's way more protective of Livy just because it's his sister that he lives with every day of the week. Scarlett is the sister that he only gets to see every other weekend, so he's a little bit rougher with her. But most of the time he does include both of them unless he's not getting his way. Like if I tell him he's got to shut the video games off, he gets mad, and then he goes and does something to piss Scarlett off, and then Scarlett ends up doing something to piss him off back, and Scarlett's the one that ends up getting trouble because most of the time we don't see the thing that Mark did. So that's what it's like having 3 kids in the house. Well, our 3 kids anyway.
4 kids, counting Chris.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Mm-hmm. And we also have a cat that we just got about a month ago, and they torment the cat on a daily basis. They like to chase it around, and they haven't gotten used to what it's like to be nice to a cat yet. So, but anyway, the topic of today's show is going to be Little League Baseball, because we just came from one of Mark's games tonight. Now, Mark is in a rookie league, I think it's considered, where they bat with a pitching machine, whereas Scarlett is in her first year of T-ball. Livy's not playing this year because Livy's in dance class, and we didn't want the baseball stuff to interfere with her dance class. But we'll start with Little League today and what it's like to be a Little League parent of 2. And I guess we could start with Scarlett's T-ball stuff. So Scarlett, again, is 4 years old. She's in a league with 4 and 5-year-old kids, I think. I think they're 5, right? Some of them.
I think that's the age range, yeah.
You got to talk in your mic a little bit more.
No.
Now, if you've ever watched a t-ball game for 4-year-olds,
It's a lot of playing in the dirt.
It is torture for the spectators. Absolute torture. It's one of the most difficult things I've ever watched. It's okay for about an inning.
It's funny, like, when they run the wrong way and stuff, but then, like, they play in the dirt. And
It's 90% of the game is the coaches yelling, "Get out of the dirt, get out of the dirt, get out of the dirt, pay attention, get out of the dirt." That's 90% of the game. The other 10% is when they're actually batting and running around the bases, because that's the only time that they actually pay attention. Now, Scarlett has taken t-ball pretty hard, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but she's not enjoying it as much as we thought she might.
she does a lot of crying.
She has cried at every single game
Probably
so
like
far.
50% of the time she's crying.
And it usually happens within the first 5 minutes of the game. The first time she cried was because she had the ball first, and she was trying to field the ball got hit to her, and she tried to scoop it up in her glove, and it bounced out of her glove, and another kid ran up and picked it up before she could, and she sat down on the field and started crying for about 5 minutes because she had the ball first. The second game, she cried because she was playing first base, but she was standing on first base, and the runner, the batter hit the ball and was running to first base, and when he got to first base and saw her standing on it, he couldn't get on it, so he pushed her off the base, and she cried, which I guess that one was kind of justified because she got pushed. I'd be pissed too if I was getting pushed, but...
Well, I mean, she's doing better than she was at the beginning. But
she's absolutely doing better than she was at the beginning.
she always used to just cry and say, "This is boring."
I think that's the biggest problem. At her age, I don't think... And it's not just Scarlett. Scarlett, I think, already has a pretty short attention span for a 4-year-old. She's wild. She goes from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And she doesn't care about what she was doing 30 seconds ago. It's all about the new thing that she's doing. And t-ball is the only time of the week pretty much that she has to just sit and do this one thing for an hour and 15 minutes. And I think it's a bit much for her. And I think it's a bit much for most of the kids on the field, honestly. I think they should shorten those games down to like an inning and just call it. Then they're learning the fundamentals of the game. They're playing the game, but not enough to hate it.
It's not even like worth getting dressed for, though.
It's not. And I don't think any of this is. I think, honestly, at this age, I don't think they need competitive games. I don't think... Well, they're not competitive. They don't keep score. But I don't think they need games where they play against other kids. I think they just need practices so they can learn the mechanics. They learn how to bat. They learn how to throw. They learn how to field. And then they go home. I think at 4 years old... And this is my opinion, just having watched... What have we had so far? 5 of her t-ball games?
Yeah,
4 or 5.
It feels like a lot.
It feels like so many more, but realistically, I think it's been about 5 games, and I just think they're too young. All of them on this team are too young, and some of them get it a little bit. They know they got to scoop the ball up and throw it to first base, but then they all just revert to being bored and digging in the dirt again, and I don't know. It's not enjoyable for the kids. It's not enjoyable for the parents. And I think it's going to give all of the coaches a stroke. And I don't know. It's rough. It's rough at that age. Then we move up to Mark's age. Mark, like I said, he's 7 this year. He's going to be... I'm going to edit that out. He's going to be turning 8 later this year. They get it more. At his age. Absolutely, they get it more. And this is Mark's first year playing baseball also. Some of the kids on his team, most of the kids on his team, I think, have played a couple years already. But Mark hasn't gotten into t-ball or anything. This is the first time he's played. And I think he's doing pretty good so far. Mark is not the most athletic kid in the world because he likes to spend most of his time playing video games and that's fine. He's that kid, he's the couch kid, which we're trying to get him outside more. We just moved into a house about a month ago. Before we were living at an apartment. It was kind of hard to make them go outside and play because there was nowhere they could play outside that we could see them from in the house. So unless we were just sitting outside watching them, they couldn't play outside. At the new house, it's a lot easier. They can just go out in the backyard and
Tell them to get the hell out of my house.
and do their thing. So there's going to be a lot more of that this summer, a lot less video games, and hopefully Mark will get more into the athletic outdoor kid mode. But yeah, so he's not the most athletic kid, but I think he's taken to the game a lot better than I expected him to. You know, he's pretty good at bat. He understands the fielding. He's just not that great at it yet. He needs more practice. But his games, I know Ashley gets irritated at the games because I never realized I was going to be this guy, but I am 100% the Little League dad that you imagine at every Little League game. I'm not screaming at the kids or yelling or getting pissed at the umps or pissed at the coaches, like, why isn't my kid pitching, or any of that garbage. I'm not that guy, but I am the annoying dad that's cheering for each individual kid, and I know every kid on the team's name, and oh, great hit so and so, and oh, you know, you'll get it next time, this guy, and Ashley hates that because she just thinks I'm a square, which, I mean, she knew it before we went to Little League, but even more so now. But
I'm trying to think. There's something that happened where that is exactly what you did. Where Mark, something unfair happened, and then you were freaking out, and I had to tell you to get over it. And I can't remember what it was.
I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
Forget about it.
But okay, so I mean, we've talked enough about like the kids' side of the baseball. Now the parents' side of it. Having two kids in Little League, even though Mark and Livy don't even live with us most of the week, I've still had to be as involved as I can be. Well, no, I shouldn't say I had to be. I've involved myself as much as I could in Mark's Little League, just because I grew up playing Little League, and when I was a kid, it meant a lot to me. It was my pastime for a while. It was the sport that I was best at, I think, as a kid, and it was the one I enjoyed the most. And I've been kind of excited since I had kids. I've been excited about getting into Little League just because I was hoping they would have the experience I did. You know, I made a lot of my friends as a kid through Little League, and I was hoping that same thing would happen for my kids. So when Mark joined Little League, I jumped right in, and I tried to do the same with Scarlett's, but man, her games are just so frustrating. They listen for about 5 minutes, and then that's it.
We involved ourselves.
Yeah, and we
yesterday.
We do help out.
We yelled at all the kids.
We help out as much as we can at the games. You know, like ooh, sorry, cat again.
Chris trapped a spider under a cup.
Well, I just didn't want to deal with it right. I don't want to kill it, but I didn't want to deal with it until after we were done recording. So now the cat found the spider, and she's trying to get it. But anyway, so we've involved ourselves a lot in the games, mostly because I don't think any of the other parents have, and the coaches need help there.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's 3 coaches. Actually, well, two coaches most of the time. There is a third coach, but he's not there a lot of the time.
Well, his girlfriend helps when he's not there.
Yeah, so the one coach's girlfriend helps in the dugout. She tries to keep the kids in order,
but she doesn't want to yell.
Exactly. That's the problem. She doesn't yell, and then none of the kids listen. So,
but I mean, parents today.
Right, and that's the problem. Is we're almost afraid to yell too, but at the same time, it's horrible watching this girl get walked all over in the dugout because the kids just won't listen to her. And meanwhile, none of the other parents step up to help. And that's super frustrating for me. I'm almost more frustrated with the other parents than I am with the kids. Mm-hmm. The kids are really frustrating, but they're kids. You know, they're 4. I get it. The parents, meanwhile, are just sitting, gossiping, barely paying attention to the game, and
talking about their ex-husband having an affair.
Yeah, exactly. Just, you know, they don't help at all. So we've kind of stepped ourselves up and tried to not to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but like
We're perfect parents.
we are. We're the greatest parents ever. That's why you're listening to this podcast. Learn from us.
No, they're not.
Learn from
Nobody's
us.
listening.
No, nobody is listening probably, but we're going to talk like someone's listening. So meanwhile in Mark's league, they also have 3 coaches on the team, but it's another thing where like sometimes one of the coaches won't be there, and I've kind of tried to stick myself in there as much as possible as the volunteer dad, so that like when one of the coaches isn't there, I'm the guy they ask, hey, can you fill in here, and hey, can you fill in there? And I've really enjoyed that role. I'm the guy that keeps the score at the games.
It's really annoying.
I know Ashley hates it, but
So I have to sit there by myself.
I love it. It's the most I've ever enjoyed watching baseball is watching Mark's Little League games, because they're actual games. They're competitive. They count. They count every run, and at his young age, watching the way these kids take their losses and watching the way they take their strikeouts and everything, 7 is a little young to be that competitive. But at the same time, I believe the coaches in this league have done, at least on Mark's team, I can't speak for the other teams, but the coaches on Mark's team have done an amazing job of making sure they're still enjoying the game, whether they win or lose. And they're being as, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like compassionate, but not compassionate. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought. The coaches have been great in Mark's team, and I've enjoyed being a part of that. And I like I said, I jammed my way in there. Although I volunteered at the beginning of the season to be a coach, and they just never called me, which is
because they don't want you.
God damn it, they want me. They just don't know it yet. Ew. No, but realistically, I think it's a mistake they didn't call me, because it seems like they're always shorthanded. Scarlett's team is always shorthanded. Mark's team is always shorthanded.
No, everybody's so busy all the time. I mean,
Who
the hell has time to do 2 games and a practice every week and work and have a life? And
That's the other thing I wanted to talk about, is how insane these schedules have been. And for each individual kid, I guess it's not been bad. It's up to 3 days a week, it seems like, for both kids. For Scarlett's age, it seems like they've tried to keep it down to 2 days a week. But there has occasionally been a practice and 2 games. I think that's only happened maybe 1 week so far. But Mark's league is specifically, they try to do 3 days a week. If there's 2 games, they'll have a practice. If there's 1 game, they'll have 2 practices. This week, they got rained out yesterday at practice. They had a game tonight. They're having another practice tomorrow, and they're having a game on Friday. So Mark's 4 days this week, but his first practice got rained out, so he was only at the field for a few minutes. But still, that's 4 days of the week that the parents have to drive to and from the fields. So Little League life is not easy on the parents. The kids get to play the game, and the parents get to be the chauffeurs, and it's rough. It's rough. We haven't had time pretty much for anything else for the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, however long it's been since they started.
It's been so long.
Talk into the mic.
It's been so long.
And we still got like 2 months left. Not 2 months. It's like a month and a half. I think Mark's team plays 15 games and Scarlett's plays 12 or something.
Well, I feel like Little League pictures made it all worth it.
We just had picture day on Saturday, and it was really cute.
Adorbs.
It was really, really cute, and it was fun to see. That was like the first time that I've actually seen all the kids paying attention, because they were all excited to get their picture taken.
And then, of course, on Scarlett's team, there's one really annoying kid, and he was the one with the mismatched hat.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was really annoying.
I know which kid you're talking about.
Yeah.
Hopefully his parents are listening to the show and they realize how annoying their fucking kid is. This kid. Let's talk about this kid for a minute. This kid just goes out, and he's 4 or 5 or whatever. So I get it. Like, he's young. And realistically, he's probably got ADD. That's the only explanation for the way he acts that I can think of.
For real.
So I hate to fault him for any of it. And I don't fault him for any of it, but he's fucking annoying, and I can't stand being around him. I want to punch this kid in the face every time. He does whatever he wants, like right in the coach's faces too. Like they'll be like right up on him, telling him, "Hey, you need to do this," and he'll just like turn the other way and like start throwing his glove around. He walked into the dugout the other day when at the end of the game we were telling the kids to put their gloves away for a second and go shake hands with the other kids, and he walked into the dugout and chucked his glove right at Ashley just
that
because.
Was that fucker?
Yeah, that was that kid.
That kind of hurt.
And Scarlett was going through her...
Oh, he was mad at me because I made him put his bat up. Is that what happened?
Oh, and that's the other thing. The kids and those fucking bats. They can't leave the bats alone. None of them. And that's Scarlett's age and Mark's age. They can't leave the bats alone when they're in the dugout. They always have to be grabbing the bats and banging on the ground and swinging them around and hitting the cage and stuff. And that's half the battle at the games, is getting the kids to hang the goddamn bats up. But I digress. We were talking about that annoying kid and how much I hate him. And I feel bad saying that I hate a kid, but god damn it, I hate this kid. Like
him and the chubby one.
Yeah, the chubby one's just so dopey. Like I can't be mad at him because I just think he's too dumb to realize what's going on around him. Although
I don't know.
After the game yesterday, I went up to him and I was telling him, "You need to put your glove away and go back in the dugout. You need to put," and I'm tapping him on the shoulder, and he's looking away from me, not looking or talking to anybody. He's facing a brick wall, and I'm tapping him on the shoulder, and I'm saying, "Hey, you need to go put your glove away and go shake hands with the other team, and you need to go listen to your coach and blah blah blah." And the kid just won't fucking turn around. He's just facing the wall and completely ignoring me. And I get it. I'm not his mom or dad, but you know what? I'm an authority figure at this game. You know, but
he wishes.
These goddamn kids. So yeah, there's those two annoying kids on Scarlett's team. Mm-hmm. There's a kid on Mark's team. This kid, and he's a decent kid otherwise. I guess I don't know. I don't know enough about him to know if I hate this kid or not, but everything he does is the greatest thing that's ever happened on the team. And I'll admit, he's decent sometimes. Like today, he hit a triple. A Little League triple. That's pretty impressive, you know. Little League, you're lucky if you get a single most of the time, but he hit a triple today. And it was a solid triple. It wasn't like, you know, a triple on errors. He hit it all the way to the fence, and it took him a while to get it back in. So it was a solid triple. But then after the inning was over, he came back in the dugout, and he went up to as many kids as he could, and he goes, "Hey, you want to know how I hit that triple?" And then he grabs his arm, and he's like, "Pure muscle. This is pure muscle." So that's the kind of kid he is. Which, by the way, there's no muscle on this kid. He's chubby. He's a big kid, you know. He just threw all of his weight into it, I guess. I don't know. I'm not making fun of a fat kid. That's mean. This is going too far.
You don't really have much room to talk.
Yeah, I'm fatter than that kid is. But I'm also, like, 32, and he's 7, so.
Well, since we're talking about baseball, why don't we talk about how much your softball team sucks?
Because this isn't about me. This is about our kids. That's the whole point of this podcast, is about our kids. So we can disregard my softball team entirely, and everyone will be happier for it. My softball team does suck, though.
Yeah.
Or, you know what? Maybe I'm the one that sucks, because like I played in Highland for a while, and like a couple of years after I stopped playing in Highland is when they got first place in the league. I don't know how my team in Crown Point did last year when I was in Louisiana, but probably better than when I was running it.
Probably.
Well, you know, it's hard to manage a team full of drunks. I left the young kids in charge last year, so I think they got some other young kids to play. So they replaced all the fat old drunk guys with young athletic kids, and that's probably why they did decent last year.
You don't even know if they did decent.
I don't know if they did decent. I'm afraid to ask, but where are we at? All right, so God damn, we're not even at the half-hour mark yet.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's already
We took
bored.
forever sitting around trying to think of a name for this stupid podcast, and now it's like I'm ready for bed. But
I've been ready for bed since I woke up this morning.
that's life with kids.
It's life with you.
And kids.
And you.
So, let's see. We talked about how our kids are handling baseball. We talked about the annoying kids on the team that we hate. We talked about the parents that we hate. Oh, you know what?
No, we didn't talk about
No, we didn't talk about all the parents we hate. I mentioned the kids in Scarlett's League that their parents don't lift a finger to help at all, and that's really annoying. But let's talk about Super Dad on Mark's team.
Ugh.
God damn it! This is gonna be awful. If any of these parents listen to this podcast, they're gonna know exactly who we're talking about. But
Nobody's at all is going to be listening to this.
so our kids' names aren't really Mark and Scarlett; they're Ark and Arlet, and they play in DeMott Little League.
God, you're such an idiot.
So there's a kid on Mark's team who his dad seemingly knows nothing about the game of baseball, but comes and tries to help out as much as possible, which I give the guy credit. He's trying to be helpful, and he's trying to be fun with the kids and be fun with his son, and
he's being really annoying in the process.
But what's really annoying about him is, like I said, I don't think he understands baseball as much as he thinks he does, and he also rarely listens to what the other coaches are telling the kids. A direct example of this is last week sometime, Mark had a game where it was, I'm trying to remember, was it raining? Or I think it was raining because the ball was wet. And so the coach told the kids, like, the ball is a little heavy, so it's going to be coming in low. So you guys need to step forward a little bit so you can swing level with it and still hit the ball. That was exactly what the coach told him. The ball's going to be heavy. It's going to come in low. Step forward to hit it.
And this, wasn't it the guy who's been teaching, like, low baseball for,
Yes.
like, 8,000 years?
One of Mark's assistant coaches is, if you live in Lowell, you know the name Don Bales. Don Bales has been the athletic director in Lowell for years. And, I mean, he's been coaching T-ball since I was a kid, because he was my first T-ball coach. So, I mean, he's been doing this for years and years and years. He knows what he's doing. And he was telling the kids, okay, the ball is heavy because it's wet. So it comes out of the pitching machine. It's going to come in low. You need to step forward so you can still swing level and hit it instead of chopping down at it. No less than 30 seconds later, this kid's dad comes up to the dugout, slaps the cage a little bit to get everybody's attention. He's just like, hey, the pitching machine's pitching it high today, so you guys need to step back in order to hit it. And it's like, dude, just, I understand you're trying to be helpful, but pay attention to what the coaches are telling the kids. Because the worst thing you can do as a Little League parent is to undermine the coaches. Because I understand, like, we're their parents still, but when you sign the kids up for Little League, you're putting these people in charge of your kids. They're responsible for your kids, and you're accepting that. So if you're undermining them, you're just undermining everything you signed your kid up for. And you also need to teach your kids that there are other authority figures besides their parents, which they should be learning at school anyway. They should be learning to respect their teachers and principals and stuff. But if you bring them to a baseball game and then completely undermine what their coaches are telling them to do, then what's to say they're not going to stop listening to their teachers too? You know, if they think that you're the only authority figure in their life.
I think you're getting a little too deep.
I am. I'm going off on a tangent, but I feel like I have a solid point here. The point is, the coaches do things and make decisions that some of the parents don't understand, and maybe some of the parents disagree with it. You know, like, oh, why does my son have to sit out this inning? Or, oh, why isn't my son playing this inning? Or this position this inning? And, you know, that's the stuff that some parents get mad about, and it's ridiculous. The coaches make decisions for a reason, and you got to trust them. So if you're, this is a word to any parent that's trying to help out with their kid's Little League team. The best thing you can do is listen to what the coaches are saying to the kids and reinforce that, or give them a variation of that same information so that it makes it easier for them to understand or something. But don't just come in spewing stuff that is completely disregarding what the coaches are telling the kids, because that's just ridiculous. That's going to confuse your kids. I don't know. That's I'm off my soapbox now. But that just pissed me off. It pissed me off because how much of a disregard it was for what the coach just told the kids. And then on top of it, the next annoying thing he did, which was about 2 seconds after he did that, then I'm trying to get the kids. Like I said, I'm keeping score. I'm keeping the batting order. So I'm the one telling the kids, okay, so and so's on deck, so and so's in the hole. You know, making sure they get out there in order, which I failed on tonight, by the way. One of the kids batted out of order today in the 6th inning. And
You suck.
I suck. But he went up before. So my son had just hit a double. I was excited, and I kind of forgot for a second like what was going on. And by the time I look up at the plate, the wrong kid is up there batting, and he already swung at a pitch. And it was like, well, at this point, he's committed. If I go in there yelling, oh, wait, Cooper, you're batting out of order, then the ump's going to say, oh, well, he already took a swing, so he's out. Because that's what happens when you bat out of order in Little League. You're out. And the other team caught it too, mind you. The other team had a guy keeping score, and he saw the kid with the wrong number up at the plate, and he let it go. So it wasn't like it bothered anybody, but technically it was against the rules. I blew that one.
Oh my God,
But-
you broke a rule in Little League.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought again. Oh, yeah, so I was the one keeping score and keeping the kids in order and stuff, and I kept telling the kids, because they were a little wild that night. You know, they were jumping all over the dugout. A couple of them were trying to climb across the rafters, and they keep flipping bottles and stuff, trying to, you know, the water bottle flip thing that, I don't know, what do they call that? I don't know. The thing when you try to flip it and land it on, you know, right side up.
I don't know.
It's like the bottle flip thing. I don't fucking know. Everybody does it and posts YouTube videos of it for some reason. But, so the kids were all doing that shit, and I'm trying to keep them, like, focused on the game. Like, hey, guys, turn around, pay attention, you know, cheer for your team. You know, cheer. You got a batter up at the plate. Cheer for him. Make sure, you know, you're helping out as much as you can, you know, pay attention. And then meanwhile, this other kid's dad, right after he told them all to swing the wrong way, he just goes, oh, hey guys, I got a knock-knock joke. Shut up. This is not the time for knock-knock jokes. The time for knock-knock jokes is after the game, you know, when they're not, they don't have to be focused. They're already done. But, yeah, so that kid's dad is annoying. Again, he's a nice enough guy, and I believe he really does mean well, and he is trying, and that's nice and all, but learn the game before you try to teach it to your kid.
And then Scarlett's team is the annoying moms.
I think just the gossipy, like, kind of moms.
Oh, there's the one who's like, her son's in soccer too, and, you know, she's a teacher, and blech.
Blech.
Blech. And
Dumb
then,
bitch.
and then I told you about this, how that one practice, all that woman talked about was how her ex-husband had an affair.
Yeah.
And it's not even like it was a relationship. It was with a bunch of different women. And like, okay. This is your kid's like baseball practice.
And now, so you told me about this woman. Now, was she talking to somebody that?
She was talking to the other annoying mom.
Did they seem like they previously knew each other, or were they like just meeting each other at this baseball practice? And she's
They
just
didn't.
like, yeah, my husband was banging other women.
They didn't just meet each other, but like they just started talking at the start of baseball. It's not like that was
So
the first.
they hadn't known each other before baseball.
No.
And like week 2, she's already.
Yeah. And I know this because they were like just finding out, like, oh my God, I bought shoes off of you at a garage sale, and I heard that one too. And I'm pretty nosy.
Yeah, Ashley's very nosy.
I'm proud of it. I don't deny it. I'm very nosy.
Trying to remember last night. This is how nosy she is. Last night we were laying in bed. She's getting herself ready for bed in the bathroom and asked me something about like, oh, did so-and-so was married?
One of his many girlfriends, I call
Oh, yeah,
him.
my girlfriend. She was married? Who was she married to? And I was like, I don't know his name. And I browsed Facebook for a couple seconds, and I was like, I think this is the guy. And she was like, you hang on to that until I'm done getting ready. I'm going to come look.
I'm nosy, I'll admit it. And like most people, I love drama, as long as it doesn't involve me.
Yeah, but you are drama, so.
You don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know. Ew, how?
Working on a Sour Patch Kid now. All right, so we talked enough about Little League. But on the subject of Little League, let's talk a little bit about other, I guess I hate to use the word like organized sports because it's not just sports, but like, for instance, Mark played soccer, which, yeah, that's an organized sport. But like the girls have both now been involved in dance class. Mm-hmm. Livy is still involved in dance class. Scarlett did one summer in dance class, and she didn't handle it too well. Again, she's
very short attention span.
Yeah, I don't think she has the attention span to do anything for an hour at a time. And
I'm wondering if maybe she'll
it.
do good in soccer. She needs something where she can run around.
Run around constantly. No pauses. No.
Yeah.
No. Hey, reset until this next batter hits the ball. It's got to be like the ball is moving. Yeah. Keep moving with it.
I think she might do well in
soccer would probably be good.
That's so boring.
I honestly wonder if they have like pee-wee hockey around. We could teach her to skate. Scarlett's pretty good on a bike. She's pretty good on her roller skates at home.
She's tomboyish.
She is tomboyish, but she's athletic. She's an athletic kid. She really is. She's strong, and she's got a lot of stamina. She likes to run around a lot, and
yeah, she's pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, and she could be really good at sports if she could focus enough. Whereas Mark doesn't like to run. It's obvious Mark doesn't like to run. Just
like his dad.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's a little slow, but so he gets excited. I think he enjoys baseball because there is a lot of downtime in baseball. But then when the play happens,
what do they do when they're out in the field? What is it?
Every kid on Mark's team keeps doing that. The floss, I think you said it's called.
And I think
the backpack
that originated,
yeah, from the Katy Perry thing.
Yeah.
There was the backpack. The backpack kid did the dance on the Katy Perry song.
On Saturday Night Live.
Was it SNL? I thought it was like a football game or something.
I think it was SNL.
Whatever it was. Everybody knows what we're talking about already. It's not, the Swish song, Swish Swish Bish or whatever.
Yeah, it's such a good song.
It's okay. I'm not into that kind of thing.
Better than Get By.
We don't have to get into that. We're not talking about my band. We're talking about the kids. This podcast is about the kids, not about my band, which is called Get By. You can find us on Spotify and Bandcamp and Facebook and at GetBy.NWI. But anyway, so yeah, all the kids on Mark's team, they are constantly flossing. Do they call it flossing? What
I'm pretty sure,
What do those
yeah.
young
That's what
kids?
Mark's.
What do those young whippersnappers call it? They call it
That's what
flossing,
Mark
or
said they
do they call it doing the floss, or do they call it
I
flossing?
don't know.
That's my point. I know the dance is called the floss, but if they are doing it, are they flossing or are they doing the
I don't
floss?
know. You know, I know you wish I was young, but I'm not.
They also like to dab. They dab on everything, which I don't mind the dab because it's quick and like they just get it out of their system, be done with it. But the fucking flossing thing, it's like it just never stops, never stops. They are constantly, and I've already yelled at them once, like, all right, you guys need to stop dancing and then as soon as I said stop dancing and start paying attention, the kid whose dad we don't like that much, he started dancing again, and like he thought I said to keep dancing or something. His dad was like, no, he said to stop dancing, not to start. I was trying to make a joke out of that, and there's nothing funny about it, I guess. He had to be there.
It wasn't funny when you were there.
Just because you didn't see it happen doesn't mean it wasn't funny when it happened.
I just, I hate it when you use your dad voice and your coach voice.
Well, it sucks for you that I'm a dad and kind of a coach. The coach, the head coach, called me coach today, so
Yeah, and
that was
Chris
pretty cool.
blushed.
Yeah, he was flattered. I was flattered. And you know what was nice too? When we went for pictures the other day, the coaches weren't there for pictures. None of the coaches were there for pictures. It was just the kids. So the head coach told me the day before that he wasn't going to be there for pictures and kind of asked me if I could help round the kids up when they took the group picture. No, I didn't. But that's what I was about to say. So I rounded the kids up. They all took their individual pictures, and then they got in line for the group picture. And the photographer lined them all up on the bleachers and sat them, 5 in one row, 5 in the next row. And then he saw me wearing, Mark's on the White Sox, so he saw me wearing my White Sox hat. And he's just like, are you going to come stand behind him, coach? And I was just like, oh no, I'm not the coach. I was like, I'm just helping today. The coach isn't here. And he was just like, oh, I saw you had the hat. You sure you don't want to just get in there? And like 2 or 3 of the moms there were just like, you help out so much. You should go just get in there. And
You didn't tell me they were flirting with you.
oh, yeah. And then after we were done, they were just like, hey, you want to bang? And I was just like, I can't, ladies. I'm a married man.
I'm pretty sure none of that happened.
Half of it happened, but which half?
Probably the you want to bang part.
Well, I'm flattered that you think that that's the part that happened.
Wait, why?
Because you think people want to bang me. That's nice.
No, I said that you were asking them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I
okay.
wasn't
Yeah, that does make a lot
complimenting
more
you.
sense.
No, I'd never compliment you.
Yeah, I was kind of happy for a second that you thought that much of me, but I should have known better.
Scarlett's pictures are so damn cute, though.
Yeah, Scarlett's team did really good for the pictures. I was actually really proud. Like all of them actually sat still for like 30 seconds just to take pictures. And then they did this new thing. I don't remember them doing this when I was a kid, but they offered what was called a buddy picture, where like the kid getting their picture taken could get their picture taken with someone else, so that the parents could have. For instance, we used our buddy picture for Scarlett and Mark to get a picture together, even though they don't play for the same team, they're not the same age or anything, blah, 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 blah. But they were both in their team uniforms getting their pictures taken the same day, so we figured, why not have a professional picture of both of them in their baseball uniforms? And it turned out super, super cute, and I can't wait till they come back.
Adorbs.
Oh, that was cute. But yeah, so I mean, if nothing else about this season has been worth anything, at least we'll have cute pictures from it.
I mean, that's really, in this day and age, that's really all parents want.
That's really true.
They don't really care about what actually happens. They just want
90
cute pictures.
90% of the kids at these games, not kids, 90% of the parents at these games, they don't watch the game for about, for an hour game, they don't watch about 59 minutes of it. And then, for 10-second intervals at a few points throughout the game, they'll put their phones up and take a video or take a couple pictures, and then they'll go right back to their gossiping about their cheating husbands and stuff. And like I'm guilty of it too. I take pictures all the time instead of actually watching what's happening. But this year with this baseball thing, the first game I had to get it out of my system. I took a lot of videos and a lot of pictures of the first games just because it's like it's their first time doing any of that, you know. So I did a lot of that. But now it's just been like I'm actually trying to watch. You know, I'm
a coach.
Not just that. I'm trying to just be present in the moment. That's something I'm trying to learn to do this year because I am absolutely that parent. I am the guy that.
You're not just that parent. You're that person.
I video everything instead of actually watching it happen, and then I realize later, like, I'm never gonna watch that fucking video. So
I tell you that all the time.
So I watch my whole life going by on a screen the size of my phone, and I never relive any of those videos. And it's like I would have rather watched it like in real life. You know, I think Louis C.K. does a bit about that, and he's just like, "This is better than HD. It's real." I don't know. I'm misquoting.
We're trying to teach a life lesson here.
Yeah. So yeah, if you
Stop recording everything.
If you take anything away from this, it's that you're never gonna fucking watch any of those videos again. The pictures, you're gonna share them on Facebook for 20 likes, and everyone's, "Oh, your kid's so cute," and then nobody's gonna give a shit ever again. So, are your Facebook likes worth that much? That just watch the damn game. You know, watch your kid do something special. Watch out all of it. You know, fuck the camera phones and.
I think about that all the time. I don't want Scarlett to remember looking up and when she's about to
seeing
bat.
the phone instead of your face.
Not even like me taking a picture, but her like being at bat and me looking down at my phone on Facebook or something, which I'm sure I've done. Not proud of that though, but
yeah. I'm very guilty of that. And
yeah, you are.
I know this is
something we fight about all the time.
This is a good tangent to get off on. It's just like. Well, I guess we could save some of this conversation for another episode because I feel like we could do an entire episode about like how, you know, smartphones have replaced interaction with our kids, and not just on our side either, but on the kids' side too. The kids are so obsessed with smartphone games nowadays. They don't care about the parents. They just want the parents' phone.
It's a very interesting topic because in one way, technology brings us together, but in another, it pulls us apart.
So deep, man.
So deep.
So deep. Yeah, but let's not get too deep into that. Like I said, we could do probably a whole episode about something like that.
About how Chris is always on his fucking phone.
I am on my phone a lot, but
all the time. And then you know what his excuse is? People keep texting me like he's important or something.
People do text me all the fucking time.
No, they don't.
Hey, if you're listening to this, stop texting me.
Yeah.
Let me live with my family for a little bit. Because I'm the kind of person that when I get a text message, I feel obligated to respond right away. Even though nobody responds right away when I text them, I'm just, I'm so used to normal conversations where someone says, hey, blah, 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 and you immediately respond to them, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I feel the same way about text messages. If somebody texts me and I see it, I feel the need to respond.
And like we'll be on the phone and he'll hang up with me because somebody else is calling him.
Because I'm going to see you and we can finish the conversation later.
One day you won't see me.
You know what though? So, God damn it. This is another topic. Like, why are we doing this? This is supposed to be about the kids.
Oh, I feel
but,
like,
okay,
we're parents. We're parents.
Yeah, this is family life too. This is important stuff too. So, people rarely call me. I get texts, I get Facebook messages, I get Facebook comments and stuff. When someone takes the time to dial my number and call me, I assume it's important. Now, 95% of the time, I'm wrong. It's nothing important. But I just feel like if they're taking the time to call me, it's something that they couldn't say over text, and it's probably a little more important than a text message conversation. That's the only reason why I feel so... it's so urgent that I take that call.
You could wait, and if they call you a second time.
But what if it's that big of an emergency that they can't call a second time?
Like they're dead or something?
Yeah, they're dead, and that's honest to God, every time my phone rings, that's my biggest fear, is that it's not who is on my caller ID. It's like the state trooper that found the wrecked car and is calling like one of the numbers in the contacts list, or the EMT.
Terribly overdramatic.
Yeah, it is. It's super overdramatic. I'm an overdramatic person.
Yeah.
What a year ago.
What?
A year ago, while we were talking about overdramatic, this just came up the other day, and I thought it was funny. And this has nothing to do with the kids, but it's a funny story, so I'm going to share it anyway. About a year ago, I was living in Louisiana for work for about 9 months last year. And while I was in Louisiana, I had a lot of time for Netflix and Hulu, because I had work, and I'd come home to my apartment and just watch, because I had nobody living with me. I was by myself. So I just watched a lot of TV. And one of the shows I was watching was 13 Reasons Why, because everyone was raving about it. And in short, the girl in 13 Reasons Why kills herself, right? She cuts her wrist. And I'm watching that episode, and I have a thing about watching people get cut. Like, I can't watch ER or any of those other like surgery shows or hospital shows on TV, because I can't watch skin getting cut. It's like, ugh. So this girl starts cutting her wrists, and I went into a full-blown panic attack. Like, I blacked out, and my arm went numb, and half of my face went numb, and I honest to God thought I was having a stroke. And I called Ashley to let her know I was having a stroke, because I didn't want to have a stroke alone in my apartment in Louisiana, and nobody knew what happened until they found my dead body like stinking a week later. So that's, if you want to know how overdramatic I am, I thought I was having a stroke because I watched a girl cut herself on Netflix.
Tell them about your recent heart attack.
That was legit, all right?
That was not legit.
I woke up at like...
And you woke me up at fucking like, what, 3 in the morning?
I woke up at 2 in the morning, and my chest was like super tight, and my arm was numb. And I kind of blew it off at first, but like I sat there for an hour waiting for it to go away, and it wouldn't go away. I just kept feeling this squeezing feeling in my chest, and my arm was numb the whole time. And it's like the telltale signs of a heart attack, you know? And I know I'm only 32, but I also don't take care of myself at all. I eat like shit.
Yeah,
I used to smoke. I'm in terrible shape. I'm way overweight. A heart attack is fully in the realm of possible in my condition, you know? So I thought I was waking up, and this woke me up out of a dead sleep too. It's not like I was just up at 2 in the morning. I was asleep, and this chest pain woke me up. And that's another thing. If it's painful enough to wake you up, they say it's usually pretty serious. So I didn't just wake you up just out of nowhere. I sat there and Googled heart attack symptoms for an hour before I decided to wake you up, because I felt like I was having every single one of them.
You would have been better off just waking me up right away.
And she's a nurse, so I finally just decided, you know what, fuck it. If this is a heart attack, I need her to at least look at me, if not drive me to the ER. So I woke her up, and
at 3 in the morning.
I wasn't having a heart attack. She checked my heart. I was fine. I was having an anxiety attack instead. But that's another story, I guess. No, that is that story. That's the end.
He gets anxiety when he sleeps. It's overdramatic.
I was probably having a dream about something like money related.
Probably.
I get a lot of anxiety about money.
Anxiety-inducing.
Or, you know what else gives me anxiety? This is turning into a podcast about me, but you know what else gives me anxiety is when people call me like the day of, and they're like, hey, what are you doing right now? You want to go do something? I can't do it.
Are you talking about this because you were just talking about it on Facebook?
Yeah, well, we're talking about anxiety now. You know what? Let's not, because this is supposed to be a podcast about
anxiety.
kids.
My kids give me anxiety.
The kids,
my biggest source of anxiety.
My kids don't give me anxiety. You know what gives me anxiety?
You stop lying.
No, my kids don't give me anxiety, but what does give me anxiety is worrying about, like, if I tell them something if I tell them I'm going to do something,
God, it's the worst.
and then I can't do it.
What kind of parent can't break a promise?
I know it's something, as awful as it is to say, that's something that you have to learn to do as a parent, because there's a lot of things that you promise your kid that they sound simple enough. They really do.
Well,
just something as simple as you look at your calendar and you realize, hey, I have nothing going on tomorrow. So you call and talk to your kid and you say, hey, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow and we're going to do this. And then, so they're looking forward to that all day long. And then it comes up to that time, and in the meantime, a million other things happened, and you realize, oh shit, I have to go do this, and I have to run to the bank and get this money out, and I have to drive it here, or else they're going to take my house away. And meanwhile, your kid's just sitting there waiting for you to pick them up and do the thing that you told them you were going to do, and that shit breaks my heart. And I can't. I would almost rather lose the house than break a promise to my kids.
You break your own promises, though, because it's like, you'll be like, you could have this if you act good, and then they don't act good, and then you do it anyway. Because you don't want to break a promise. Well, but you broke your own promise. And it's really annoying.
No, but it's, sometimes it's like, kids don't have, their brains don't work the same way ours do. Like, we tell them, hey, you need to do this for the next half hour or else this happens, And in our brains, we can keep that information in the back of our head, and for that whole half hour, we are thinking about that, and we're monitoring that situation to see if they are fulfilling what we ask them to do. In their heads, they hear us tell them, for the next half hour, you need to do blank. And then 5 minutes later, that's not even in their head anymore. It's bouncing around in there somewhere, but it's not sticking. And then 10 minutes later, that's when they remember it. But oh shit, for the last 10 minutes, they've been doing exactly what we asked them not to. But they didn't remember it at the time. They just remembered it 10 minutes later, and that's when they start deciding to behave again. And they're like, oh, well, I forgot I was supposed to do this, and now I'm trying to do it now. So that's why I try to work with them. Even if I specifically say, hey, don't do this. If they do it for a couple minutes, I try to give them a little bit of slack, because they, like I said, they don't remember. They don't work the same way we do.
Chris is the prime example of a dad who wants to be his child's friend.
I do. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But my kids also know that I am an authority figure. I know you don't.
Nobody takes you seriously.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. That's not fair. I know you like to say that all the time, but let's be real here. My kids know that when I'm serious, I'm serious. They know it. Quit making that face. For real. I'm not a tough dad. I'm not. I know I'm not. I'm not a super strict dad. I can yell and be mean when I need to, because I'm usually the one that needs to. Because you have a hard time being mean to Scarlett because you think I'm too mean to her. And then with Mark and Livy, you also have a hard time being mean because they don't seem to take it as serious. But I just don't think you get mean enough.
That's the thing, though. They don't have to love me.
But they do.
That'll have to be the topic of 10 episodes, being a step-parent.
Being a step-parent. It's tough. It's tougher than being a parent, I think.
It is. Because your kids don't have to like you.
I only see Mark and Livy at best 3 days a week. At worst 1 day a week. And every time they come over, it's like nothing has happened in between, It's just like we're together every day. That's how they act. That's because I'm their dad. And they love me unconditionally, and I feel it, Scarlett. Now I've been in Scarlett's life since before she was 1.
Yeah.
So
she was 6 months old or something.
So at this point, honestly, I've been around her more than her biological dad has. And I think she knows that, and I think she acts like that most of the time. But it's just lately now that, I don't know, her dad's decided to be...
Well, long story short, not to get too into it.
Yeah.
Her dad's kind of,
He's not super dad.
No. And,
but he tries to act like he is. So whenever, Scarlett has been around my kids for almost 3 years now, them calling me dad and daddy and stuff. So that's what she's learned. She's learned that I am dad and daddy. And we haven't discouraged it. It's not that we've encouraged it necessarily, but we haven't discouraged it because...
How do you tell a 2, 3, 4-year-old that 2 kids are allowed to call him something but she isn't? She doesn't get that.
So yeah, we don't tell her not to say it, when it comes out, it's fine. It is what it is. But lately, her dad has been on this kick that anytime she calls me dad, she's in trouble. And so she'll come home from his house and she'll be like, "You're my stepdad," and make a point of telling me as much as possible that I'm her stepdad. And it sucks, but it's true. It's true though, and I need to accept that. And oh man, this took a turn for serious real fast.
But yeah, I think that's the topic of another episode.
Yeah, we can dive into that some more.
Everybody's a step parent nowadays.
Yeah, it's more and more common because let's face it,
Marriage sucks.
people don't get married or stay married nearly as much as they used to.
Because it sucks.
So step parenting is a real thing, and sometimes it's a struggle, for various reasons. So maybe we'll do that for our next episode. We'll talk about step parenting. This will be kind of a teaser into the next episode. Cool beans. So I think we've rambled long enough. I know we started off on Little League, and we quickly got away from Little League. And
I'm ready for bed.
I was trying to talk about soccer and dance a little bit, but we got sidetracked and into anxiety and stuff. But, it is what it is.
Soccer's boring.
Soccer's boring. And kids don't enjoy it. No matter how much they tell you they enjoy it, they don't like it.
And the only thing exciting about dance is the recitals and their cute outfits. But otherwise, that's boring too.
Yeah.
But you do it because...
You know what? Let's just face it. Little kids are fucking boring. Little kid board games are boring. Little kid...
I don't even. You love that. You love that stupid little fox thing. The fox with
Catch
the
the
pants.
fox?
Yeah.
Where you put chickens in the fox's pants or something?
He's getting excited.
It's funny. The
game
is funny.
You can hear the excitement in his voice.
It's not the game itself that I like. I just like hearing the kids talk about it.
And the fart game?
The fart game is funny.
There's the fart game, and then there's the where you pull the finger.
The dog poop game.
The dog poop game.
The dog poop game is funny. But I don't consider those are games that parents buy for kids knowing that they'll enjoy playing them. But like real kid board games, like fucking Chutes and Ladders. Ugh. If I never have to play another game of Chutes and Ladders again, I'll die happy.
I don't know. I think you like it.
I like the kids liking it, but unfortunately 90% of the time playing board games is the kids trying to learn how to play the board game, and only 10% of it is them actually enjoying it. So you got to sit through an hour of them remembering
idiots.
You have to remind them 5 times. Okay, first you spin, then you move. First you spin, then you move, and then you have to move it this way and not this way. Don't move it that way. It's awful. It's awful. Little kids and their stupidity is boring.
Are we going to mention our daughter, Sarah?
No, we are not. Because we don't have a daughter, Sarah. We have a cat named Sarah.
It's our daughter.
No. You know what? That's it. Episode over. We're done. You're done. We're done with this.
Tired.
That's fine anyway. Yeah, it's bedtime, and we've rambled on enough. So I guess if you want to reach us, if you want to reach me, you can email me at which email address should I give them? I guess you use my Hotmail. I've had it since high school. It's Chris_plant_831@hotmail.com. If you have any ideas for stuff that you want us to discuss or anything like that, or if you have a topic that you've been through with your kid and you want us to talk about that, we can do that too. But we tackled.
Nobody's gonna do that.
No,
Chris.
absolutely, because nobody's fucking listening to this,
Nobody is.
and I don't blame them. This has been dumb. This is real dumb.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this has been Kids for Sale. We will see you again in a couple of weeks, and we will talk about step parenting. So I guess tune in for that exciting episode. And thanks again to the Journey into Comics Podcasting Network for letting us ramble for an hour. And hopefully we'll get to do it some more.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.